My first film study video of the week is going to be a look at two of the rookies who I think played a big role in the Lions' 21-20 win over the Chiefs, Jahmyr Gibbs and Sam Laporta. I'm going to show the Laporta film first. Uh, really impressed with all the different ways they used him as a blocker, as a receiver, from a tight end position. And then what really sticks out to me is that they're using him as an outside receiver, and I mean a legit outside receiver, not sometimes tight ends are lined up out there on the backside and they don't really do much. And in a couple cases last night, Laporta was asked to just chip and then release off the backside as well. But I'll show you a play against Trent McDuffie, who's a legit outside corner. Second-year player for the Chiefs. Had a huge impact last year for them, particularly in the playoffs. And Laporta beats him to the inside where there's space. But this guy can do everything. He can block, runs routes, catches the ball well. I did not know he was that good of a blocker, I'll be straight up. Now, Jahmyr Gibbs, we all knew he was that fast. We all knew he was super talented. Didn't get the varied responsibilities that Sam Laporta did. Gibbs was generally in there and either getting the football or being used on a jet sweep or part of the pass release package. But this is probably going to be a long video. My guess is 20 minutes, where we're looking at 6 or 8 plays of Laporta, and I think he played a big role in the two runs leading up to Montgomery's 8-yard touchdown run with a little over 7 minutes left in the game in terms of what he's asked to do. I hope I'm able to present it to you well and let you see what I think I see in terms of his versatility, the skill set that he has, and then what the Lions are asking him to do on a play-by-play basis, which is, not unique in the NFL, but for a rookie, I think it's pretty cool. And then Gibbs, his blazing speed. I understand there's people out there talking like, why didn't he get more carries? Gibbs and Montgomery are going to share the load at different times during the season. Very reminiscent of the way the Ravens have used J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards together when they've been healthy, in terms of one guy might get 15 carries one week, and the other guy only gets 6 or 8. Sometimes the yards per carry look different, but usually that's due to the different schemes that are being used. And I would offer to you, if you're one of those people upset that Gibbs didn't get the ball more, first of all, you're not wrong. I'd like to see him get the ball more. But second of all, the different schemes that Montgomery was being used on, outside zone, some trap schemes, and a couple of gap schemes, Gibbs wasn't used on those, or at least he didn't have as big of an impact. Let's get to the film. First, like I said, we're going to start with Laporta. And you may hear me flipping through some papers. Hopefully you don't hear my kids hollering downstairs. So here's Laporta up at the top side, lead blocker. One thing I do like about him is he's looking for somebody to hit. Now he's trying to work up to the second level, and the guy he's going after disappears, meaning the inside linebacker's helmet that's right here. I don't know if you guys can see that. Maybe that red isn't good. Maybe I need to darken it up. But you can see that Laporta's focus is now inside, because that's where the inside backer went. He came downhill. So Laporta's like, oh, I don't got no work here. Let me try to work up to the next player. At least gets a piece of him. That guy still gets involved in the tackle. But the reason why I'm showing you this is because of what they ask Laporta to do from a play-by-play basis. And I think Brock Wright's a super talent as well at tight end, but I don't think he's as capable of moving out here like Laporta is, and this is Trent McDuffie. A 14-yard gain on the third possession, the possession that I think ended with the Marvin Jones fumble. This was a big one. I got 2nd and long here, I believe, on my documentation. I'll pause it, and hopefully we'll be able to see in a moment, but you're going to get I think, this edge defender here dropping out, so like a zone blitz. And Collinsworth and those guys did a nice job of explaining how varied, how multiple the Chiefs' blitzes and stunts were. Look at what you got here. You got a nickel defender blitzing here, the inside linebacker 50 running from one side to the other, trying to wall out two, and then this edge defender is running underneath of Amon-Ra St. Brown. I'll pull it back. So this nickel defender is going to go. 50 is going to run over and basically take his spot, and 51 is going to drop back. Trying to make things difficult on Goff. He just lets it get sorted out in terms of Amon-Ra St. Brown taking 51 with him. Laporta wide open underneath. He didn't beat McDuffie man like that. I think it's a zone concept from McDuffie. But point is, he's big enough and strong enough that a jam from a corner like McDuffie isn't really going to impede him all the time. 14-yard gain right up the middle of the field. Thought this was a big moment. Unfortunately for the Lions, Marvin Jones fumbled on that 3rd and long. All right. Down here at the bottom of the screen, F counter concept. Now, this is not a positive play, but look at the series of the 3 plays that I just showed you. He was used into the boundary first play as essentially lead blocker on the edge. Second play lined up at wide out and got open against zone, but he's dealing with Trent McDuffie, and is a zone dropper, a edge defender, 51, I think, or maybe a DN. And then now they have him lined up here at tight end in motion, and they're running the F counter, coming back. Something ends up wrong here. The guy that should be trapped is this guy right here. Right here. We'll do it this way. That guy should get trapped. And for whatever reason, the guard, goes past him, and that guy gets left for Laporta to try to trap. That's not the design of the scheme. I think that guy's supposed to get kicked out by the right guard, the pulling guard, number 72. And by and large, I thought the Lions' offensive line played really well. Collinsworth, again, I'll reluctantly give him credit. He hit the nail right on the head, but you can see that they've passed him up, left him for Laporta. Sewell has 2 guys to deal with. He ends up chipping the outside guy. He's trying to basically handle both of them. He's unable to handle 2 guys, and the backside guy, I think, is Karlaftis, makes the play. Up at the top side, this is one where he's going to get jammed up by the corner. And there was another instance of this one. He's basically going to run a delayed drag here. I say delayed. It's delayed because he gets jammed up. It's a short gain on a 3rd and 10. I think it's 3rd and 10. Maybe it's 3rd and 11. But this happened twice. And one time I thought was worse than this one. I didn't find the play, though. I was looking for it for like 20 minutes, where he caught a ball. I think it was more towards like the 45, the middle portion of the field, 40, 45, 50, somewhere around there. He caught it on a 3rd down, and I thought he had open space, and McDuffie tackled him. And to me, like, you got to make that guy miss. This is not the play I'm talking about. This is one where the defender is in great position to make the tackle once Laporta catches the football. But you can see the different ways that he's lined up in just the 4 plays that I showed you. I think it's pretty unique. If you're a Lions fan, maybe read, I don't read any news articles about sports or anything for that matter, so I didn't know that Laporta was going to be used as a blocker so much and be so efficient at it, and line up as an outside receiver, which I thought was pretty cool. All right, now these last 2 plays, I mean, this is badass. This is the wham trap play. It's one of my favorite plays to watch, period. My actual favorite play in football is called wingback counter out of the wing tee. Or 121 trap. So 124, 126 trap. But in any case, this is wham trap. So Laporta, a rookie tight end, is being asked, and I think my pointer isn't dark enough. That's what it should look like. So Sewell is going to step out here to this D end right here. And then basically they're exchanging it. Laporta is going to step in and then go get this D tackle right here. And unfortunately, they're not able to get up to the mic successfully. The center, I think, kind of trips over somebody's feet. His job is to get up to the mic. Guard is coming down on the D tackle, the front side guard, 92. And you can see that the nose tackle kind of is working to the front side of this. Laporta is getting to the D tackle. Now, he's not jacking this D tackle up, but he's getting enough in terms of pin this way. I'll draw it over there since there's less red. Maybe I do need multicolors on my pointer. But he's able to at least take him down enough that Montgomery's able to work in the intended direction of the play. Again, think about the fold blocking scheme that you get. Sewell is stepping to this D end. Laporta's inserting inside, so there's going to be a natural gap created there from the kick out block. It's not really a kick out block, and then the down block or wham trap by Laporta, and that's where the ball ends up going. So from that standpoint, Laporta did his job, even though it's not a physically dominating block, but it's an NFL D tackle. I mean, you don't expect him to get a ton of movement, but he stays on the guy. He's a very willing blocker, and I didn't know those things about him. And then finally, the touchdown run by Montgomery that I think puts the Lions up 21-20. It's F counter. This one will rewind a couple of times. You got the motion by St. Brown, that's designed to kind of pull people out of the box. And we'll pull this one back and let you see it again. Kick out block by the left guard. Here's Laporta trying to work up to the front side inside backer. I think it's Bolton, who's a load physically. And it's a stalemate, but Laporta tries to stay on people. And he's got hands on Bolton now. These guys block like they want to block. And I'm guessing, and I don't know, I'm guessing that comes from Ben Johnson and everybody else that coaches on the Aaron Glenn, even though he's a defensive coordinator. Dan Campbell, the head coach, I'm guessing it comes from them. The expectation level is super high. I mean, this is the same team that put Amon-Ra St. Brown in the backfield on a 3rd and 1 at fullback in Thursday night. So the expectation level is high, and these guys lived up to the standard, if you ask me. The run game wasn't dominant, but hey, look, Sam Laporta, rookie tight end, lined up everywhere except in the backfield, like Amon-Ra St. Brown did, and I thought did a fantastic job. You guys let me know what you think in the comment section. We'll move on to Jahmyr Gibbs. Not a great start in terms of yards per carry on his first carry, but look, the Chiefs' corners, whenever they got a tight split from the Lions' wide receivers, somebody was blitzing. Now on this play, it's both of them. I'm going to pause it and show you what I mean. So a tight split. Let's talk about this wide receiver right here. He's pretty close to the outside foot. I drew it to his hand, but the outside foot of the right tackle. And then look at the tight split for this receiver. No matter who it was, Reynolds, St. Brown, anybody. Watch what these two corners do. And this is Gibbs' first carry. And I think it's even a physically impressive play by him. He spins out of L'Jarius Sneed's tackle, almost spins out of the second tackle. Ends up being, I think, a 1-yard loss, maybe a 1-yard gain, but certainly not a big gain. He wasn't able to get free. These guys on these tight splits gave the Lions problems. I'm interested and concerned if this is what a lot of teams are going to do to tight splits by the Lions receivers. Well, then I'm sure Ben Johnson's going to adjust, number one. Number two, hopefully he's going to try to use it to his team's advantage. He seems like the kind of guy that would do that. I'm very interested in why the Chiefs were doing this. We don't get answers to those questions. We don't get to ask coaches why they did things, but that's the way my brain thinks in terms of the game. Why did they do that? When were they doing it? You would think 1st and 10, Gibbs is in the game. We think it's going to be a run concept. Let's go after him. It was a 1-yard run. My bad. I mistakenly said it was a 1-yard loss. All right, this next one's certainly not a loss. Gibbs is here to the right. You got the jet motion, and this is that down sweep. I would just refer to it as buck sweep, but look at his ability to just play through contact. This is a guy who's supposed to be a speed back, and he is super fast. The conflict that they're putting people in, this ball is on the hash, so the boundary side, the short side, is up here, and the field side is down here to the bottom side of our screen. The offense is right, defense is left. So numbers-wise, they're able to get the left guard and the center out in front, block down on the D end with Laporta, and Laporta's able to pin the guy inside. Gibbs gets the edge. I think 17, 18-yard gain. I had it 17 in my data. I don't know if you guys, people who get my reaction videos, I try to share the game notes. You're welcome to it. Use it if you're a content creator or whatever. But you can certainly get a more accurate version of the down and distance and gain from ESPN and different places. But I do it for my own documentation. But cool play to the boundary using the speed of Gibbs. All right, so second quarter, I think you've got an 8-yard catch on a swing pass that's basically a downfield. It's basically a screen. And again, the ball is on the hash. So you've got the threat of Gibbs, running that sweep to the boundary. But in this case, they run the swing pass to the field, which is presumably where the nickel defender would be. I don't know the down and distance here, but I think we'll see it when Gibbs it's 2nd and 8, and he gets I got him for an 8-yard gain. Looks like maybe 9, but it's a swing pass. It just shows you how quick the burst that he gets, somewhere around like the 26, 25. I don't get fired up over he didn't get the ball enough. He showed what he's capable of. And if you're a Lions fan, you probably got excited every time he touched the football because you think he can take it to the house. 10-yard catch. He's lined up into the boundary this time. I think this is the very next play because I think that was a 2nd and long. I think this is a 3rd and 12. Got it? Maybe 3rd and 10. Down into the boundary. You would think that this will be something they'll do often because it's away from the nickel defender, force inside linebackers to cover him into the boundary. Yeah, there's less space over there. Typically, you're going to get the nickel defender, to the field. And to the boundary, you get a safety, and to the field, you get a free safety along with your two corners. Can't draw. Sometimes it's difficult to draw with this thing. But away from the nickel defender, when you line the running back up into the boundary, you're typically going to be dealing with an inside linebacker. To me, that looks like something that Ben Johnson is going to do often, just a little simple stuff like that. Get the ball out there to the guy, give him a chance to make somebody miss. Even though there's less space to the flats, there's enough space for Jahmyr Gibbs. No chance on this one. Another blitz by a corner off the edge. There's no receiver at the bottom side. Cool concept. It's an F counter with Cabinda kicking out the backside guy. So Cabinda, the fullback, is going to try to kick out this backside guy, and then they're pulling the left guard and wrapping, who else? Laporta up. But unfortunately, the guard is unable to do anything with Sneed. I think in this case, somebody was talking about, Gibbs got to take that front side A-gap. Man, you look at the end zone angle of this, which I don't put on my YouTube channel usually. There ain't nothing there. So say about it what you want. He should do this. He should do that. I don't see anything there if he cuts it up into this hole here like somebody was talking about on Twitter. But in any case, ends up being a loss on the play because those corners were very disruptive for the Chiefs off the edge. All right, he's on in this really cool personnel grouping that Ben Johnson was using. 21 personnel. The sweep doesn't go for a lot here. I think it's like 7 yards, something like that. But when I say 21 personnel, I don't mean a fullback. I mean Gibbs and Montgomery on the field at the same time. And you got a tight end up here and 2 wide receivers. Gibbs in the jet motion. He had run this, I think, twice earlier in the game. They didn't give it. Notice a couple of things. Number one, he's running it to Laporta's side. Number 2, he's running it into the boundary. So I'm going to talk about that a lot. If you watch my videos all season, you'll probably get tired of hearing it. You got 2 backers here. You got 4 defensive linemen. Maybe one of them's a stand-up outside linebacker or whatever, but you got a 4-2 look in the box. There's your 4-2. And then this guy right here, 22, I think it's 22, McDuffie, is the nickel on this play. Where is he lined up? He's lined up to the field. You got the field down here. You got the boundary up here. If you're a Lions fan and you really paid attention to him last year, you know Ben Johnson likes to attack to the boundary. Well, here's a jet sweep to the boundary. Very similar to a play concept that the Chiefs tore up the Bengals defense with in the 2021 AFC title game. Only ran it 3 times with Mecole Hardman for like 37 or 38 yards. I suspect you're going to see this a lot, and I suspect you'll see complementary plays built off of it. Jahmyr Gibbs running in motion. Last year, the guy that got the ball a lot on those jet sweep plays was Amon-Ra St. Brown. Think of his 58-yard run against the Washington Commanders down the right sideline, where he didn't score, but it was a 58-yard game. Couple more here. Laporta in return motion. Gibbs is in the backfield, I believe. Gets the edge, and just a tough runner, man. This guy, for being a speed back, like I said, he runs hard. And you have to wrap him up, and you probably have to have 2 guys there in terms of one guy outside leverage, one guy inside leverage. The speed that he hits this with off the edge, and by the way, who's lead blocking? Laporta. It seems to me like the Lions really trust him out there on the edge. They're forcing the corner, Sneed, to tackle. Sneed was super disruptive, blitzing off the edge into the backfield. But in this case, trying to deal with an athlete like Jahmyr Gibbs out in space, that's a totally different animal as opposed to attacking downhill in the backfield before Gibbs can really get going. As Sneed is unblocked, like a lot of NFL corners are on outside run plays, Laporta goes and gets the safety or the number 2 defender at the 3rd level, and Sneed is unable to wrap him up. I think an 18-yard gain. You guys let me know if you're as impressed by these 2 rookies. Different responsibilities, not just in terms of tight end and running back, but I think the expectation level for Laporta is extremely high based on his flow chart, his responsibility chart, what he was asked to do in the first game. I think he lived up. Well, for me personally, he exceeded the expectations. Not that I didn't think he was a good football player, but I didn't know he was that damn good. He looked like a guy who has played in the NFL for 4 or 5 years already in a Thursday night football game. And then Jahmyr Gibbs, yes, we'd like to see him get the football more. There will be weeks where he does. I'm quite sure he'll run off tackle some, and he'll run some of those gap schemes that David Montgomery ran, and he'll run some of the outside zone schemes as well. Seems more dangerous in the shotgun, Gibbs I'm talking about, as opposed to Montgomery, who seems more effective when the quarterback is under center. A suspicion I have is that when Gibbs was on the field, they were in the shotgun more, except for the 21 personnel group when he ran the jet sweep. So that's a caveat there. And then Montgomery, like I said, was on the field more when they were under center. But I could be wrong. It'll probably take me a couple of days to get all that data sussed out. Appreciate you guys' time. If you enjoyed the video, please let me know in the comment section. I'm going to try to do Ravens and Lions content as much as possible one day after each game whenever the film comes out. This is my first film study video this week. Let me know what you think of it. If you have other ideas or suggestions for a video, please let me know. I will have one on the Lions fake punt come out sometime Saturday afternoon. Of course, that'll be during college football games. If you think other Lions fans or other football fans would appreciate this video, please consider grabbing a link to it and sharing it on social media to help this content get more reach.